Hi there, it's Mary with Mary's Stampin' Cafe. Thanks so much for stopping in at my Card Making Mondays with Mary. I am excited because I have just finished my sheetload of cards for July. This is from Call Me Crafty Al, and every month she puts out a fantastic sheetload of cards, and I was excited because this month is a different size card. It's a 5x7 card. I knew exactly what I wanted to use because there's a particular bundle with Stampin' Up that actually is kind of large when you are using it, and this would be perfect for this particular sheetload of cards. So I'm going to show you my cards, and then I'm going to make one so I can show you how it is that I did that. But first, let me show you what I used. I pulled out the Ice Cream Swirl Bundle. Now this one is fantastic because it has a super large ice cream cone top or a cupcake top, because in the dies you have your cone and you have your cupcake. What's particular about this particular bundle, this die right here of the ice cream cone, you can see it's a double because this is a fold it. And so you can create a really cute shape card with this. And so I'm going to show you about that when I create the card for the sheetload of cards. So let me show you my sheetload of cards here. I absolutely love my card. So here it is. And look at those fabulous, bright, and fun colors. Interestingly enough, this particular designer series paper or pattern paper that you see is from a retired holiday paper called Merry, Bold, and Bright. It was a 12x12 pack, and it's so fun because you got some of these bright and bold colors. Now if you saw what's maybe on the other side, it says fa la la or things like that for the holidays, but that's okay. This is such a great summertime birthday hello. I absolutely love the soft shimmer of the cone. I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see that shimmer there. And the bright glimmer of this ribbon. It is just so fun. I added another layer here and making a wish on the inside with some sprinkles here. I absolutely loved it. Now, I wanted to share with you, my cards differ just a little bit. I'm using, when you do the sheet load of cards, you're using 2 sheets of 12x12 pattern paper, and so you get to mix and match what you are doing. And so I'm using some of the star patterns, my circles, and my stripes there, but I'm also changing up my sequins that I'm using there for that. And those are the fantastic adhesive back shiny sequins. Love it. There's some of these fun green and yellow, and then I also have my ones that have the matching pink, because if you want to be super pink, there you go. And I think those are all the colors. Yes, they are. So this particular sheet load of cards makes 8 cards, and again they are a 5x7 edition. So you know, usually the A2 cards, you would take your 8.5x11 cardstock, cut it in half, and that would give you 2 card bases. Well, that doesn't happen with this. So when you use an 8.5x11 card sheet, you cut it by 7x10. So what I'm going to share with you right here on the dimensions, when you get your template here, and you can get a free download template by going to Call Me Crafty Al on YouTube. Also on my Stampin' Cafe social stamping group, I always put them there as well, so people can access them there. All of the diagrams are labeled here with what code is being used, and then there's a great picture tutorial here that shows you exactly what you cut things at and how many of those things that you're going to get. And so I'm going to take a look just here at a single card layout, okay? And so you can see that cardstock 1, this is my Melon Mambo I'm using, and it was cut at 7x10. This piece I cut 7 by 10, so you see how it's much larger and you're not going to get 2 card bases from one sheet of cardstock. So this was 7 by 10 and scored at 5. Then they have the patterned paper A right here, and that's cut at 6 by 4. And then you have your pattern paper B, and that is the, where'd my strips go? Oh, under my, and this is the pattern paper B, and you need 2 of those, and they're cut 6 by 3/4. And then you have your other cardstock that you're going to cut 6 by 1, because these are going to be a mat for your strips. Now you certainly could do it without the mat if you wanted to go a little quicker on your cards and just use your paper and not the mat. I like having the mat. I think it really does a great job. And so from there you would then start to assemble and put together your cards. So I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to show you my card again. Now the template, which I love, it's just an idea, right? And I took this and I turned it the long way here, vertically, and I'm still keeping that layout, but I wanted to feature this big ice cream cone. I love it. And this size card I find is so great for this cone because it is such a large one. So I'm going to go ahead and leave my card right here that you can see a little bit. I'm going to set the template aside. And I do have 2 pieces of Granny Apple Green. They are cut at 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 because I'm adding a mat to the front of the card. I wanted more fun, bright, bold colors, and so this piece is 6 by 4, so I'm doing 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then for the inside of the card, same idea. My white layer is 6 by 4, and so 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to show you that on the trimmer just so you can see where that would be. I'm going to grab my trimmer. Now this is the Stampin' Up trimmer. If you don't have this one, you might consider getting it because I love the way it has a seamless thing going here. So when you take a look at putting your cardstock in, right there where the 6 and the arrow is, that's 6. Okay? So then you have, and I don't know if you can see them, but the ruler continues engraved and goes right through. But what I notice is that right here on this line, right here where it kind of comes in and turns, that's where our quarter mark is for 6 1/4, right there. So it's just before you get to the next black. All right, so I'm going to just start by doing some gluing of our bits and pieces here. This sheetload of cards actually is fantastic because it went very, very quickly. I was surprised at how quickly I was able to get my 8 cards done. Even with die cutting out all my beautiful ice creams. I couldn't remember. So I'll go ahead and I'll mat my strips. Now one thing, I wish I wouldn't have glued my designer paper to that green layer yet, because I did find that my strips didn't necessarily match up. You can see this designer paper is just a little bit longer, and that's just the differences when you're trimming your cardstocks and your papers. Sometimes those things happen, and by keeping it off that mat, I'd have been able to do a little trimming if I needed to. But that's okay, we'll work it out. So I'm going to bring this one right to the edge here of the paper, right to the top there. So corner to corner there. Let the edge of that pattern paper help me stay straight. And that lined up pretty darn well. So let's take a look at this one. I love these stripes and dots together. This color palette is so fun and bright. I guess that's why that designer paper was called Merry and Bright. That was from last year's September to December mini catalog. And if you can believe it, we're starting to gear up. Sorry, I got some glue, some tape adhesive on the front of the card, and I love it just balls up and I can get rid of it. The September to December mini catalog is quickly approaching. I'm getting ready to have Stampin' Up! Mail out the mini catalogs for me. There we go. So I have my 2 strips ready now to go to the ice cream cone. So let's set that aside. Let's bring in these dies. This is so much fun to get into and start playing with and using. So there's that cute cupcake paper, and then you can have your your cupcake frosting and make a really cute, huge cupcake too. It's so great. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some pecan pie. I'm going to bring in my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And like I had said, this particular die is made so you can make a shape card, and this is a fold it. This will fold when you do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the platform, and then I'm going to grab the die here that gives the ice cream cone all of its textures, and that's just going to go on one side. Okay. I'm going to bring in my other plate. There we go. All right. And so when we do this, you can see how great all of that texture, and they actually cut through, but it gives such a wonderful real look to that. Now if you're going to use it as a shape card, you have that score line right there, and you fold it right in half, and there you are. You've got your shape cone that you can add your ice cream top to, and you've got a great shape card. I'm not doing that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this, I'm going to put this back on, and then I'm going to lay this cone on the opposite side that didn't get any of the texture. Lay it right back down and go back through, because I'm going to actually just get 2 cones because I'm not making a shape card. So there we are. I've got the design on both sides, and the design did not get affected at all by going through the machine again, because I didn't have a die on top of it, so there was no pressure going on that. Okay? So then I'm just going to take my scissors right on that score line, and I'm going to cut across. And now I have 2 cones. And maybe that's why I was getting done so quickly with my cards. Okay, so now we've got our ice cream. And I love this. because there's so many possibilities and flavors, right, of ice cream that everybody loves. So I am using this soft shimmer glimmer paper. It is wonderful. It's not in stock anymore with Stampin' Up unless it's on the clearance rack. This was something that was featured with our last set of in colors that just retired. And so when our in colors retire, so do the products that include those colors. So now for this one, I've got this great base for my ice cream. And then I'm going to grab the lighter soft shimmer piece, and I'm going to do this piece. This is the piece that's going to be on top. Now I'm going to go forward, and I'm going to come back with this one. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to go ahead and move my machine. This particular one, as you can see when I turn it over, it's got these pieces here that are going to come out, and see how tight that is, how skinny that is. Sometimes when you run it through, it doesn't quite cut it out cleanly the first time, and then you have to go and run it again or you'll rip it. So you just have to be really careful, because these lines, as you see, are so skinny. So I like to do these other ones first and pop them out because they pop out easier. And just where it's got that really thin line, you want to kind of just go along and carefully pop it out of there. And this is the one that does give a little trouble sometimes when we get to this really skinny part right there. So you just make sure you're right there with it. Carefully give a little tug. There we go. And now we've got our layer of our ice cream. So let me put those dies aside. Let's bring this back in here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my Barely Art Precision glue, and I'm going to put quite a few drops on the places where there's a lot of paper. Then I'm going to come in and get a little tiny dots, kind of as tiny as I can get them on these really thin pieces. There we go. Then I'm just going to layer this right on top. Press down. Any glue that maybe seeps, you're not going to see it at all. Look at how fun that is. It's all glitzy and glimmery. I love it. All right, so let me grab my adhesive back shiny sequins. These are available. They are current. Just you can go to stampinup.com and put in shiny gems, and you will get these beauties. And let's see. I don't know, I'm really partial to monochromatic, where we're using all the same shades of color within the family. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. give them those little fun sprinkles. Okay. Now when it comes to gluing the cone to the ice cream, I simply take some liquid glue and I run it right along the top of the cone, and then I just go into each of those V's just a little bit, because my cone is not going to sit way down on this. I mean, my ice cream's not going to sit way down on the cone. So then I just bring the cone, the ice cream, sorry, to the cone and press, and then you can see it's on there good. It's in the middle, it's balanced, and how cute is that? It is so cute. Now if you kept it as a fold-it, this would be your card. And then you would fold it like that. Ta-da! That's how that would work. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and use dimensionals for my ice cream cone. We are just about to assemble and put our finishing touches, but you can see how quickly this card is coming together. And I have it on an angle because that's just so much fun. There we are. And then I have one of my die cut out pieces, and I'm going to grab Hope Your Day is Sweet. And then I'm using Memento. There's so many colors of things going on here. I'm just going to go ahead and use the Memento ink. There that is. And while we have that, I'm going to go ahead and grab the other sentiment. I'm going to put Make a Wish on the inside. I think it's fun, you know, we can say happy birthday all the time, but I think it's fun just to say hope your day is sweet, make a wish, and then you just tell that person happy birthday, right? That's what we usually would do. So beautiful, bold, make a wish. Then we'll go ahead and pull in some sprinkles. Now I'm not using the sprinkles right here. I just I found them to be quite bold, and I wanted something just a little bit more sprinkled, I guess I would say. And so I've pulled out the Filled with Fun stamp set, and there's this great little kind of sprinkles here in this one, so we're going to use that instead. And then I'm going to bring in the Melon Mambo. Just pop that right there. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my sentiment and take it and just tap it onto the stamp pad so my edges get that color, and it almost looks like I've got some cardstock behind it. So it's just going to let it stand out, and I'll let that sit there to dry. So we shall go ahead and get our inside of our card going here while that's drying. Layer this to my green. Now remember, the green I added in here, it's not on the template. Oh, and I smooshed it right there. I might have to do some more sprinkles. Can always fix a smudge, right? My hand must have had some Must have had some ink on it. So we'll turn that over. We just have our sentiment and our ribbon. There we are. So what I'm going to do on this, my sentiment's going to come right here, and I'm going to line it up right to the Granny Apple Green, and it's going to sit right like that. So this is raised up with dimensionals, so I'm going to take a dimensional and put it on this edge over here, and then I'm going to put a little adhesive where it's going to sit on this, because that's already raised up and I don't want to raise it up more. So it's going to line up right about there, and there we are. It's raised up and level with it here, and that's what we needed. All right. Now let's bring in this really fun, thin glimmer ribbon. I'm going to go ahead and make a little bow. I just love all the glimmer of this card. It's so bright, so fun. Whoops. So this sheetload of cards, I do a make a card, send a card group each month, and I send cards to 6 people, and these sheetload of cards are perfect to do that with. Our group only has 1 more month before our spring summer time is finished, and I'll be forming new make a card, send a card groups. So if that's something you might be interested in, you can check out the link I'll put in the video, and you might want to participate in our fall. It'll have all the information there for you. You don't have to use Stampin' Up! Products at all. This is just a fabulous, fun way to connect with others and use the stamping things that you have. The next groups would be September, October, November, December, January, February. Yeah, September to February. And there it is. There is that super cute 5x7 sheetload of cards. This is 1 card, just using the measures. Who would not love to get this, right? My goodness. So if you put in hashtag sheetload of cards on Pinterest or in YouTube, you will find all sorts of sheetloads of cards from crafters, and you can get yourself inspired on creating your own sheetload of cards and then sharing them. I will have a blog on this that you can check out on Tuesday. You can check out my links for information on, I will put Crafty Al's information. I'll share the things I used for my card today. And until next time, happy stampin'.